Recently, one of my long-term private coaching clients who's known me for quite a while and so knows that I really enjoy my business, which is kind of rare when you've been doing the same business for over 8 years to love it more and more and kind of constantly be amusing yourself and finding different ways to keep it exciting. Asked me, how are you able to do that? How are you able to stay motivated day in and day out after all this time? And the thing is, I have struggled with a lot of things in business. I feel like I've definitely struggled more than most, and I'm sure we all think that. But thankfully, motivation has always been something that I have not had to struggle with. Thankfully, one thing. And so I wanted to share some thoughts with you that I think will be really helpful for you if you are wanting to stay motivated or find more motivation to grow and to succeed in your own business, no matter where you are. So with that, let's talk about the core principle that I use to run and operate my business, and at this point, businesses, and pretty much everything I do. The core principle is, I'm going to share what it is, and then I'm going to explain it. Principle first is that my guiding motivation is that I am looking to entertain myself. Now, this is going to be contrary to a lot of the things that you might hear other people say to make themselves sound good, like I'm motivated by the idea of helping others and putting others before me and changing the world. Here's what I'm going to say. Of course, I want to help others and change the world. Otherwise, I would not be putting out content and doing it consistently every single day in some way, shape, or form, and have done it for the past 8 years. That more than speaks for itself, right? I require a certain quality of all of my products, all of my content, whether it's free or paid. And if you've been in my world for any amount of time, you know this. And if you're new, well, welcome. You're going to love it. So that's a given. However, that is not my guiding motivation because frankly, I think anyone who really says that, 99.999% of people are kind of saying it to make themselves look good. Because why are you living for other people, right? How many people are really motivated to live for others? So if there's a part of you that's like, yes, I want to help others, right? Let's get really honest. Yes, of course you want to help others, but what do you want to help yourself first? Is your primary motivation building, growing your business first and foremost, right? Sure, after all your expenses are covered, you can focus on bigger things, but first and foremost, right? Is it to take care of you and your loved ones? I know that was the primary motivation for me starting out, right? And then, as my business grew, I was able to focus more on external things like the impact I wanted to have, helping others, changing lives, donating, all of that good stuff. So again, you can absolutely do all of that, but let's just be honest. It's just you and me, right? Talking to each other right now. So I wanted to start with that. And the next thing I wanted to clarify is that when I say I choose to entertain myself, right? I'm not saying the idea of entertaining as in being a clownish figure and doing ridiculous things to keep myself entertained. In fact, the definition of entertainment, I actually had to look this up to confirm, to make sure I wasn't going to be wrong, is essentially to derive enjoyment from. Okay, that seems pretty straightforward. You want to enjoy the business that you are doing, right? So my primary motivation, or the thing that has always driven my motivation in my business, aside from in the beginning when I was like, okay, I need to, make enough to pay the bills and make sure that that is taken care of. Aside from that, and be able to have enough to take care of my family and have freedom and time flexibility, the basic core things that most of us start businesses for in some way, shape, or form, that aside, it's always been to make sure that my business was something that I enjoyed, and that was my number one goal. Because the truth is, if I enjoy it, guess what? The content, the products, everything that I put out is going to be a lot higher quality, which guess what? Benefits you and everyone else in my audience who is reading and seeing and all of that. And it makes sure that I'm going to continue to stick around and continue to put out this great content, help more people, increase my content quality, and so on and so forth. So again, this is not selfish, right? This is frankly the best thing that you can do to stay on course to helping as many people as possible. Not to mention, the more you enjoy your work, the happier you are, and that flows into your private life for your family, your loved ones, your kids. It just goes on and on. So frankly, this is the best, least selfish thing you can do to figure out how to keep yourself entertained as well. So I'm going to give you a few tips for how I do that. And again, this can apply no matter where you are in your business. I've been using these same things for the past 8 years, running a 7-figure business. And at this point, starting other businesses and running those as well. So anyways, not to get too much into that, starting with the first thing that I've always done to keep myself entertained, which is I've always focused on growth. So yes, that includes revenue growth. I built this business to over 7 figures in its first year. I built my first online business to 6 figures within 4 months. These were not my first businesses. I want to make it clear. So it's not like, I hope you're not saying that and seeing like, oh my God, it's taking me so much longer. Why is that? I just want to make that clear. It was like 10 years of a lot of other businesses and failures and stuff before these came around. So I always want to caveat that. But that aside, right, I absolutely want to caveat. I'm not just sitting here being like, it was all internal growth and I never wanted to or cared about the revenue. Yes, I absolutely cared. Why can't you care about both? So with that, what I focused on that included was the internal growth, the growth of me as a person, in my confidence, in how I felt as basically my confidence in my ability to help others and to be able to make that money and feel good about it. So my money mindset, all of my skills, my marketing, my sales, my copywriting, my teaching, my coaching skills, all of those things, I really focused on growth in every single aspect. So the growth of my audience, the growth of my impact, the growth of my revenue, the growth of all of these skills in some way, shape, or form, I've always focused on that. The reason why I'm emphasizing the internal kind of growth a little bit more, like the skills piece, is because if you pin your happiness and your enjoyment on your external metrics, yes, enjoy them and focus on them for sure. But if your enjoyment is pinned on that, guess what? If you have a good month, you're going to be really happy. If you have a not great month, you're not going to be so happy. And I decided early on, I did not want to make that my life, because I'd read a lot of books where entrepreneurs were like, oh my gosh, this affected my family so much. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do my best not to be affected by it. Obviously, I'm not perfect, but because I set that intention early on, I was really able to develop that skill over time more and more. Again, I'm still not perfect with it, but getting better every day on another area of growth, right? On the growth of all of these things, so that for me, that's really enjoyable. Reading the emails that I write now versus the ones I wrote 5 years ago, 4 years ago, even 1 year ago, I'm really proud of myself for how much I've grown in my storytelling and my copywriting skills, and that's enjoyable to me. Same thing with my videos. When I look at my videos now versus my videos from 3 years ago, I'm really proud of myself, right? And so there's some version of that is probably going to be really enjoyable to you too, that I recommend you figure out, because we're all a little bit different, and choose that as something to really motivate and use to enjoy and constantly entertain yourself. Now, that's the first piece. The second thing is figure out what is fun for you. Everyone is a little bit different. Let me give you a few examples. For me, what's fun is I love coaching. Let me clarify that. A small handful of people. I'm all about like small but intimate, like a small number but intimate, deeper relationships versus a large number. So I don't, I enjoyed running my group programs when I ran them and there were a few hundred people in them. It was fun, but I knew it wasn't something I wanted to do forever. Versus nowadays, I have a very small handful of private coaching clients and I do coach them. They are growing their businesses to multiple 7 figures and beyond. And it's just a small handful, deeper relationships, clients who've been with me for quite a while. I really enjoy that. I also enjoy creating lots of content. Like I love recording these videos for you. I love writing my pretty much daily weekday emails. I love creating new courses. So that's what I do the rest of my time. Anything else that I don't enjoy that has to be done in my business, I don't personally do it. And of course, it's a privilege to be able to grow your business to a point where you're able to do that. Guess what? Started at zero, right? Worked through all the things I didn't want to do so that I could build my business to the point where I could do just the things I want to do. So I want to clarify that right off the bat. And so because I figured out what's fun to me, I was able to start my business from day one, knowing I was going to build my business so I could just focus on those things. Now, if, for example, I didn't enjoy creating a lot of products or teaching, and I really enjoyed doing coaching in a larger scale, then I would run more group coaching programs. If I didn't enjoy coaching at all, I wouldn't do coaching. I would do more courses or whatever that looked like for me. I would figure out what it was that I enjoyed, and I would do more of that and less of the other things. That doesn't mean you have to do that from day one. I want to be clear, right? Sometimes you have to do what you have to do to get started and get going. That's totally fine and frankly normal for everybody, right? But just keep in mind where you want to go so that you can move towards it. So that is tip number 2, which is really important. Even if you're doing the things you don't enjoy right now because you have to, know that it's leading to you being able to do only what you want, which is going to keep you motivated, right? So with that, tip number 3 that I would say is to make sure you choose a business model that works for you. So for me, I like to spend a lot of time thinking. I like to create a lot of content. And so the way I've built my business is that it runs on a lot of content. I've got daily, weekday emails. I have weekly videos. I have monthly blog posts, a whole bunch of other stuff like that. And that drives the sales that come into my business because I have automated sales systems. I have over 20 plus products and growing because remember, I really do love creating those products. And this model works for me because I'm able to take a lot of time to create a product if I want. I've got my system set up driving sales, right? I don't have to show up and be on social media every day. I don't have to run lots of group programs to keep my business going. I've set up the way that I enjoy for my personal preferences. Again, it might take some testing to figure out what you enjoy the most. For me, it took a lot of testing to figure out, okay, I do like group programs, I do like big launches, but it's not something that I want to do forever for the long term. I thought I might. Had to test it to realize I didn't. And I thought, okay, maybe I'm someone who just wants to scale one really big product. Realize, you know what? I do enjoy scaling my big flagship programs, but I also enjoy creating so many other courses. So let me tweak that a little bit. If I enjoyed being on social media every day and just like sharing all of that and interacting in that way, then I would. But I don't. So I created my business the way that I enjoyed. And so that motivates me to keep on doing more of what I enjoy. And so what that looks like is figuring out, and again, it might take some testing, what you enjoy doing, how you can model your business to grow based on the things that you enjoy doing. And if you need to be able to outsource certain things that you have to do in your business, but you don't want to personally have to do, what that looks like. That can keep you motivated because you're thinking, all right, my business is going. I get to wake up in the morning, do the things I enjoy, and create an amazing impact and make great money. Okay, it's a lot easier to be motivated that way, right? Now, all of this being said, that brings me to my last point, which I would say is possibly the most important piece, because as we started this video, I said to you, I'm just going to be honest with you and be practical. I'm at core a very practical person. My parents raised me, right? Asian, that whole mentality, Asian immigrant mentality. And so what that means is that you have to be able to set up your business from day one or as soon as you can in a way that supports you in all these things. If I did not have the systems, the content that generates leads, the sales systems, the products, the backend, the customer support, the team built, all of these things, right? The processes that go into a real business, it wouldn't matter how much I knew all of those other things that we just covered, because I would still be stressing out all the time about my finances. And so if that's the case, right, if that's where you are right now, number one thing, get your financial house in order. Know your numbers, know your goal income. What is it going to take to get there? Are you going to start with the business model that you ultimately want to be in, or are you going to start with something that might be a little bit easier for you so that you can hit a certain income goal faster, right? Like a very common example is a lot of people start with coaching and they realize that they don't want to rely on it forever and they want to add on courses to their business. or they want to do a combination the way like I just described it that I do. But it's a lot easier to start doing coaching than it is to sell a lot of courses to make the same revenue. And so people start there, and then slowly as they build their business and their reputation and their audience through doing coaching, not to mention their own experience in teaching and helping people get results, they add on the course product, right? So basically some version of that, whatever it takes to get your house in order first, so that then you can sit back and enjoy all of these things. That if you are able to set your business up so that you have a true business and you don't have to wake up every day stressed out about, oh my gosh, do I need to post on social media? Do I need to do this to be able to hit my goals and grow my business and pay my bills? That gets to free you from the stress so that you can focus on the enjoyment. And this is huge. And let's be practical, right? That's key number one, right? As I always say, like, look, do what you love, have lots of fun doing it, but let's be real. We live in a world where you got to have the bills paid and money to take care of all the things that you need to. So you got to start there. And when you start there, once you've got that taken care of, you're seeing how your business is rewarding you for the work that you're putting in, and you're seeing what's possible and how a business can run, and you're having people support you while you're doing all the things that you love. And it's just creating the snowball effect of your business growing while you're doing more of the things that you love. Of course, it's a lot easier to be motivated and enjoy what you're doing. So if that's something that you need some help with, I have another great video for you on the only things you need to get your business to consistent 5K to 10K a month as a new entrepreneur, especially as a new coach or service provider. So I'm going to share that video with you somewhere on the screen so that you can get that taken care of, because that is step number one, is staying motivated and making sure that you are able to grow from there and really enjoy your business and your life. If you're going to find that helpful, then I will see you over there in that video.